Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are opening up a remarkable stack of source material that really acts as a kind of blueprint for self-mastery.
Hmm,
We're strapping on the hakama and picking up the brush for an investigation into an organization that successfully connects the rigorous ancient discipline of the samurai.
that pragmatic warrior class.
Exactly. With the very modern, often abstract challenges of corporate leadership, brain health, and, well, effective communication in a world just saturated by information.
That's right. We are diving into Yuishinkai Aikido, headquartered in Tokyo, and examining the expansive vision of its current leadership.
And for you, the dedicated learner, our mission today is ambitious. It's really two-pronged.
It is. First, we need to completely unpack the incredibly high-level lineage of this school, a lineage that offers really surprising and rare accessibility to international students training right now in Tokyo.
Okay.
We need to understand how the purity of the teaching translates into foundational practical strength.
And second, we're going to explore the ambitious and, I think, necessary vision of one of its key instructors, William Reed. He's an 8th Dan instructor and cultural ambassador.
Yes, and his work is all about fully applying the concept known as Bunbu Reishtu,
The mastery of sword and letters.
the mastery of sword and letters, yes. Applying that to your contemporary personal and professional life. This is really where martial arts philosophy meets academia and the boardroom.
To set the stage, we are dealing with some key figures who represent just these deep wells of Japanese culture and martial expertise.
We have to start at the top
Yeah.
with Maruyama Kuritoshi Sensei, who is one of the exceptionally few direct students of the founder of Aikido, Ueshiba Morihei, who is still actively teaching and sharing the art globally.
That is a critical connection. I mean, that grounds the entire school in its origin.
It does. And then securing that tradition for the future is Tazo Eisakyo Sensei, a formidable 10th Dan who has been selected as Maruyama Sensei's top student.
Which confirms that direct, uninterrupted flow of knowledge.
Exactly. And finally, William Reed himself, the central figure in applying this traditional knowledge to the Western context. He holds an 8th Dan in Yuishinkai, is a profound Japanologist, and, critically, a lifelong student of Maruyama Sensei.
So he's the bridge.
He truly bridges the East and the West.
Okay, let's unpack this stack. It's a remarkable convergence of traditional knowledge and international application. We're going to start, as promised, by focusing on what makes the physical training environment in Tokyo so uniquely valuable.
And how this direct lineage translates into practical, immediate benefits for the student.
Right, starting with the philosophy that defines them.
Let's focus on the lineage first. Yuishinkai Aikido was founded by Maruyama Kuritoshi Sensei. And when we talk about his position, we aren't talking about mere seniority. We're talking about a direct personal link to the very origin of the art.
So for the average person who may have, encountered various Aikido schools, why does that term direct student of Ueshiba Morihei matter so much? I mean, isn't all Aikido derived from him anyway?
It is fundamental, but the distance from the source matters immensely, especially in a Budo.
Okay.
Think of it like a game of telephone. The farther you get from the original speaker, the more distortion creeps in.
Right, things get lost in translation.
Things get lost. Maruyama Sensei is one of the few remaining direct students of the founder, Ueshiba Morihei. He embodies the original principles as they were taught and practiced firsthand. This connection imbues Yuishinkai with an authority and a purity of tradition that is, frankly, increasingly rare globally. It means the techniques and, more importantly, the underlying philosophical intent are as close to the source as you can possibly get.
And that purity is what Tazoe Sensei is meant to perpetuate.
Like his role.
So how does the selection of a 10th Dan as a top student ensure the transmission of that essence rather than just, passing on technical knowledge?
Well, Tazoe Sensei's role as Maruyama Sensei's selected top student, holding the 10th Dan rank, is critical for establishing that profound depth and continuity. In Japanese tradition, this selection isn't purely technical. It's philosophical and it's personal. It ensures that the core teachings, not just the waza, the techniques,
Right.
but the philosophical wisdom, the ethical framework, and the spirit of the founder's art are passed on directly and intact. It ensures the continuity of what is truly foundational.
So if that's the lineage, let's define the core philosophy that holds these two generations together. Our sources describe a seemingly harmonious duality, combining Budo strength with a mission of happiness.
Yeah.
That sounds almost contradictory for a martial art.
It sounds like it, but it's the essential contradiction that defines Yuishinkai. The core approach is distinct because it seeks to balance the strength of being a real Budo, a true martial way, deeply connected to samurai culture, with the objective of practicing Aikido that invites happiness and harmony. It's not purely focused on fighting. That would be incomplete.
And it's not just a spiritual exercise either.
No, that would lack the grounded reality of Budo. It is the sophisticated integration of both, seeking effectiveness that is grounded in ethical, harmonious interaction.
And this commitment to Budo is crucial because it brings in a specific martial arts principle that completely redefines the objective of conflict. It's a concept of winning without fighting.
Right. It introduces the specific principle taught in Yuishinkai. Don't think of winning, just don't lose.
Katsu to Omura.
Katsu to Omura. This is perhaps the most difficult principle for a modern Western mindset to grasp because our culture is just obsessed with clear, competitive victory.
I agree. That statement is beautifully paradoxical, but to the average corporate executive or negotiator, don't lose, sounds incredibly passive.
It does.
Or defensive. How do you ensure this concept is truly proactive and not just intellectual surrender?
That is the deep dive required. The objective is absolutely not passive. It means that you deny the confrontation the energy it needs to sustain itself. You are not trying to meet the attacker's force with greater force, which inevitably leads to a mutually destructive conflict, whether that's a fistfight or a corporate war.
Right.
Instead, the focus is on achieving a state of non-defeat by maintaining your internal stability.
Give me a real-world, non-physical example. How does maintaining posture help you not lose in a professional conflict?
Okay, consider a difficult negotiation. Say a client is aggressively pushing for an unreasonably low price or demanding impossible terms under pressure.
Happens all the time.
All the time.
If
You try to win this negotiation by matching their aggression. You just escalate the conflict, you strain the relationship, and you likely end up compromising your long-term position just to win that short-term battle.
You've just focused purely on the external factors and you've lost your internal ground.
Exactly. The Aikido principle dictates that you focus internally. By maintaining your physical composure, your breath, your posture, your clarity of thought, you deny the external pressure system the purchase it needs. You are not yielding, but you're also not engaging in their game. You create a void.
Void.
In that void, you maintain your center, your position, and your integrity. The conflict cannot gain traction because you are internally stable. You are denying the attack the target it requires.
So by not losing your balance, your composure, or your ethical center, you cannot be defeated.
You cannot be defeated.
Yeah.
This is a powerful lesson in maintaining one's internal state regardless of external pressure.
We've established the deep philosophical strength and the rarity of this lineage. Now, let's bring this down to earth for the international student or the dedicated learner who might be residing in or visiting Tokyo.
Right.
Where does this lineage come to life? And is it genuinely accessible?
Our sources highlight a very specific and ongoing location, the Hamacho Sports Center in Tokyo.
A sports center.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is not a secluded, esoteric dojo accessible only by invitation. This is a very real, public, and accessible location where the highest level of instruction flowing directly from Maruyama Sensei takes place regularly.
So it's open.
Very open. The environment is structured to be welcoming and incredibly inviting, which speaks directly to that happiness and harmony philosophy.
That is a crucial distinction. Often, martial arts with such a high-level lineage are locked away behind years of dedication or, instruction is delegated to junior students.
Right.
Is it true that international students can access personal instruction from these highest-ranking sensei?
Absolutely. The sources emphasize the unique and open accessibility of training in Tokyo, especially for international students. This is where the true double benefit of this specific lineage comes into play, making it a globally unique training opportunity.
Okay, let's break down that double benefit. The first point you mentioned is the sheer quality of instruction.
The first benefit is the ability to receive personal instruction directly from the highest-ranking instructors, the 8th Dan and 10th Dan masters, who have that direct, unbroken connection to the very core of the Aikido lineage through Maruyama Sensei. This provides an unparalleled depth of understanding of the art's essence. You are learning the foundational movements, the philosophical nuance, and the correct body structure directly from masters who are steeped in the art by its founders' students. You are receiving the most pure version of the technique available today.
That's the purity of the art. But that purity has to connect to the modern learner's need for real-world application. What's the second benefit? The why it matters for adaptability in contemporary life.
So the second benefit is how training with these high-level instructors instills the foundational principles necessary for adaptation and skillful problem solving. It's a concept known as kufu.
Kufu.
Kufu literally means to devise a clever plan or skillful means. When you learn the core movement mechanics and philosophies from the highest source, you are equipped with universal tools.
Okay.
This means you don't just learn a technique, you learn the principle behind the technique.
So when your carefully constructed plan fails, which happens constantly in business, technology, or any conflict, you aren't left paralyzed.
Exactly. You are trained to adapt skillfully when the expected environment collapses. The foundation of Kufu is the ability to maintain composure, identify the new parameters instantly, and improvise effectively.
So it's about being flexible.
Self-reliant and flexible. That's what the high-level instruction focuses on.
I recall a fantastic anecdote related to William Reed's teaching that really illustrates this idea of training for Kufu under pressure. Tell us about the projector malfunction.
Yes, this is a clear example used to teach adaptability. Reed Sensei was scheduled to give a lecture and demonstration to a group of university students.
Okay.
He arrived with a planned lecture that was entirely dependent on a presentation requiring a functional projector and screen.
Standard modern teaching, completely reliant on technology.
Precisely. But the projector failed. Completely. And there was no backup.
Oh, no.
Instead of panicking or canceling, which would have been a loss of composure and a loss of the teaching opportunity, he had to adapt instantaneously.
You have to practice Kufu.
Right there on the spot. He decided to switch the entire lesson plan, shifting from a visually supported lecture to an exercise in pure improvisation and physical control.
What was the exercise?
He took a simple concept, handwriting or calligraphy, and turned it into a high-pressure physical challenge. He asked the students to write their signatures not normally, but upside down, while maintaining their physical posture and mental focus.
Upside down.
Upside down. Then he challenged them to copy a complicated signature, forcing them to use completely untrained muscle memory and mental processing under a time constraint.
That sounds incredibly frustrating and demands immediate, skillful improvisation.
It does. It forces the students right out of their comfort zone, showing them that the ability to respond intelligently and flexibly when the expected environment collapses is the most important skill, whether you're on the mat or in the classroom.
That ability to improvise and adapt, that is Kufu in action.
And it's the direct result of training the core principles, not just memorizing the steps.
Beyond the technical mastery, the sources also paint a very inviting picture of the community aspect of training in Tokyo. It sounds like this is not a solitary pursuit.
No, not at all. The social side is a huge component of the happiness and harmony philosophy, and it's essential for holistic health. The training environment fosters genuine, supportive friendships. It is noted that members, particularly on the weekends, often meet for lunch after the morning training sessions.
That immediately makes the experience feel less intimidating for an international visitor.
It does. It emphasizes the supportive, harmonious, and inviting atmosphere that defines Yuishinkai. It's about sharing life, shared goals, and shared experiences outside of the rigorous physical practice.
So it's holistic.
The holistic health of the practitioner includes this vital social and community support, integral to the Budo experience. It's an open door to Japanese culture and genuine friendship, not just martial technique.
Let's delve into the principles in action, specifically how Aikido links the internal state to physical posture and movement. When you are training the mind and body, what is the fundamental Budo concept referenced regarding alignment?
It is the Budo concept of aligning the three vital centers, or what you might call the 3 C's: head, heart, and hara.
Okay, let's break down that alignment. The head is straightforward. That represents wisdom, mental clarity.
Yes.
The heart represents love and emotions. But what exactly is the hara in this context, and why is it so vital?
The hara is perhaps the most difficult concept to translate. It is the center, located in the lower abdomen, about 2 inches below the navel.
Okay.
It relates to vitality, grounding, and centering. In Japanese tradition, this is where your life force, your gut feeling, and your deepest reserves of composure reside.
So the goal is not just intellectual understanding, but the alignment of these 3 centers.
Precisely. The aim is to maintain, develop, and cultivate these 3 qualities in unison. If your mental clarity, your emotional stability, heart, and your physical grounding are aligned, your external composure remains firm, even when facing severe pressure.
This is the ultimate internal defense.
It is.
This resonates deeply with the idea we saw in the sources about avoiding fear or anger, because external control is only possible if one has fear or anger to manipulate.
That is the core truth of self-control in Budo. If you are controlled by your own reactive emotions, fear, anger, or even overconfidence, you become predictable.
And therefore controllable.
And therefore controllable by an external force. The practice focuses on maintaining a natural, relaxed posture under duress and utilizing self-testing exercises to resist being moved or controlled.
So the goal is non-competition.
Yes. You are not fighting, you are simply remaining natural, grounded, and unreactive. You achieve a state of freedom from external emotional manipulation.
When people see Aikido demonstrations, especially outside of a serious training context, they often assume the attacker is cooperating.
The dance.
Almost like a pre-choreographed dance. It leads to skepticism about its martial effectiveness. How does the training address this misconception?
That assumption is common, but it completely misunderstands the geometry of effective movement. To the untrained eye, it can look like cooperative performance because the attackers, the yuke, appear to move slowly or deliberately, falling smoothly.
Right.
But the truth, known to the trained practitioner, is that Aikido is about the trained person, the mage, moving quickly and efficiently to catch the onset of the attack.
So it's a question of timing movement occurring at the precise transitional moment before the conflict fully escalates.
Exactly. The trained practitioner stands in a specific ready state known as Itukanai.
Itukanai.
It's a floating posture that is neither committed nor defensive, but completely centered. This state gives you the capacity to instantly meet the attack by walking into the waza, the technique.
So the reason the attacker looks slow is because the trained practitioner moves so quickly.
Yes, and creates the necessary space and time to intercept the action's beginning. The movement is so efficient and perfectly timed that the attacker is already off balance before they even realize it.
It sounds like the key is maintaining this itsukanai posture, a state of dynamic readiness, so you don't commit to a direction until the last possible second.
That's the entire lesson. You must remain flexible like water. If you commit too early, you create a target.
And if you react too late.
You are defeated. Itsukanai is the physical embodiment of the philosophical principle of not thinking of winning, just not losing. It keeps you non-committed and allows the technique to flow naturally.
Which relates directly back to the founder's core idea.
Walk and the waza will appear.
Arokeba waza ni naru.
Yes. Mastery isn't about memorizing 100 complicated moves. It's about confidence and basic foundational skills that enable this instantaneous adaptive movement. You create the conditions for the technique to emerge organically.
If that alignment and movement is the internal Budo foundation, we now need to look at the specialized physical finesse that supports it. Let's transition to the Samurai Walk.
When we talk about physical mastery in the context of Yuishinkai and William Reed's teachings, we immediately have to introduce his role as a Nanbajutsu Association special master.
Right. And the word literally translates as a difficult place or a tough spot. How does that translation relate to the concept of the art of physical finesse?
That's where the bridging insight comes in. If Namba means difficult place, the practice itself is designed as the ultimate training to get you out of those tough spots. Whether it's physical like escaping a confrontation or metaphorical like escaping a mental rut or chronic pain, the art of physical finesse is the tool, the skillful means to navigate and survive those difficult spots.
So it's about skillful, integrated use of the body.
And it contrasts sharply with modern ideas of sheer power or fitness defined purely by numerical metrics.
It sounds like taking the foundational movement principles of the samurai, how they had to maintain balance while using a sword, traversing rough terrain, and applying them to our modern, often unnatural locomotion.
That's a great way to put it.
What are the three core, deceptively simple principles of movement that underpin this finesse?
They are the foundational three don'ts. And they speak volumes about avoiding the very physical habits modern life instills in us.
Okay.
They are: don't force, don't twist, and don't disconnect.
Don't force, don't twist, don't disconnect.
And Reed Sensei uses this very powerful analogy. If you remove the word don't, you are left with forcing, twisting, and disconnecting.
Which perfectly describes
The function of the medieval torture device, the rack, which pulls the body apart.
that makes the concept sticky and visceral. So by practicing the don'ts, you are actively moving the body away from instability, fragmentation, and potential injury, and toward natural integrated movement.
Absolutely. The modern sedentary lifestyle often forces us into these don't states. We force movements. We twist our torso when reaching, and we disconnect our upper and lower body movements. Namba seeks to reverse that damage.
Let's get into the mechanics of Namba walking because the description suggests it's fundamentally different from the robot-like march many of us execute daily. How should the movement be initiated?
Modern walking, the sources suggest, relies heavily on kicking off the ground with the foot and often involves unnecessary vertical displacement.
Your head bobs up and down.
Exactly. Namba walking introduces a profound difference in biomechanics because it centers the movement. The movement starts not from the feet, but from the very center of the body, the pelvis. It moves as if pushed by the sacrum, the triangular bone at the base of the spine.
So the power is initiated from the grounded core rather than the mechanical extremities. That sounds like a glide, not a march.
Precisely. It's an integrated glide. The technique mandates maintaining a small stride, crucially, without kicking off the ground. The legs become more like supportive columns, and the core drives the transition.
And the head stays level.
Yes, the head should not move up and down, indicating stable core engagement and minimal vertical displacement, a critical factor for efficiency and for maintaining that alignment of head, heart, and haya.
And what about the arms, which in modern walking often swing wildly for balance?
In Namba, the arms are also integrated. They form a natural, continuous circular arc at the sides of the hip joints.
Oh.
This encourages the body to move in a more fluid, integrated way, connecting the motion of the shoulder blade to the opposite side leg movement. This connection ensures the upper and lower halves of the body work as a single, harmonious unit, avoiding that dangerous state of disconnection.
We often assume good posture must be rigid, like standing at attention. But the Nanba approach seems to suggest an arched, flexible strength, like the Japanese bow you mentioned.
Yes.
How does one achieve that optimal posture?
That perception of rigidity is the mistake of the modern desk worker. True strength is flexible and dynamic. The sources offer a simple, immediate posture correction tip taught in Namba.
Yeah.
Simply do a few light jumps in place.
Just jumping. That sounds too easy to correct deep-seated postural issues.
It sounds deceptively simple, but the effect is immediate and profound. When you jump lightly, gravity naturally corrects posture, forcing the legs to align naturally under the shoulders and pelvis.
You find your center.
You instantaneously eliminate the unnecessary leaning or twisting we unconsciously adopt. The resulting comfortable posture is dynamically firm, yet arched and ready compared to a well-strung Japanese bow. This flexibility, this readiness, is key to the finesse required to escape a difficult spot.
This practice of physical finesse ties directly into awareness and presence. Namba isn't just a set of physical exercises for speed or strength.
No, it's about holistic engagement. It is deeply philosophical, mirroring the Aikido concepts we discussed earlier.
Oh.
Namba training requires the participant to become physically, emotionally, and spiritually present. It demands the engagement of the head, heart, and body in unison.
The opposite of our usual distracted state.
The exact opposite of the disconnected, fragmented state we often find ourselves in when we are consumed by worry, stress, or digital distraction. When you're tense or worried, consciously engaging in Namba walking can instantly help relax the person, bringing the mind, heart, and body back into unison.
Restoring clarity and balance.
Yeah.
I find the practical, high-stakes application of the Nanba quick step, the Sasato step, particularly striking as a self-protection application. It moves the concept beyond philosophy and into immediate survival.
The Sasato step is a specific Nanba flow movement exercise designed for rapid evasion. It's an exercise that causes the whole body to vibrate, which is described vividly as moving like a dragonfly.
A dragonfly.
This vibration destabilizes the user's center of gravity momentarily, making the next movement difficult for an opponent to predict, enabling a rapid escape through a quick shift in direction.
That makes sense. An attacker is anticipating a linear move, a forward lunge or a retreat, not a sudden, unpredictable shift in vector caused by whole body vibration.
Precisely. Reed Sensei demonstrated the effectiveness of this technique when teaching Namba self-protection to female university students. They were instructed in the quick step to enable them to rapidly escape confrontational situations. And in the anecdote, when demonstrated in class, the male students attempting to play the role of opponents were consistently unable to catch up with the student using the quick step escape.
So it's real-world effective.
It is a powerful, real-world application of physical finesse over brute force, the essence of Budo's non-aggressive effectiveness.
This necessity of maintaining posture, alignment, and movement brings us to a critical modern health issue, the digital sedentary risk. The sources draw a stark, terrifying comparison between our modern habits and actual physical harm.
The comparison is severe and demands immediate attention from you, the learner. We are referencing the documented danger of being sedentary, which the research defines as sitting 60 hours a week.
60 hours? That's 8 to 9 hours a day.
And the sources explicitly state that being sedentary for 60 hours a week is considered worse than smoking in terms of cumulative health damage.
Worse than smoking. That is a deeply provocative statistic. And this risk remains even for people who think they're balancing their time with exercise.
That's the silent killer. Even if you manage to fit in 45 minutes of vigorous exercise a day, if you are sitting 60 hours a week, you are still statistically defined as sedentary.
So you still have a high-risk profile.
For cardiovascular conditions, certain cancers, obesity, and diabetes. The brief burst of exercise doesn't negate the metabolic damage caused by excessive stillness.
And even when we are moving or simply seated while engaging with technology, the simple act of looking at a smartphone exacerbates this physical burden dramatically.
The biomechanical numbers are shocking. The average human head weighs about 5 kilograms when held in good posture, directly above the shoulders. However, when the head is tilted forward 60 degrees, as in looking down at a smartphone screen, the effective burden placed on the neck escalates dramatically.
To what?
To about 27 kilograms.
27 kilograms. That is a significant weight. That is constant extreme pressure on the cervical spine.
It creates chronic strain. Even without walking, this persistent forward-tilted posture, which is endemic in desk jobs and digital consumption, causes severe headaches, neck pain, stiff shoulders, and can lead to long-term spinal degradation.
So Nanba, with its fundamental focus on maintaining stable, aligned posture and initiating movement from the core, serves as a direct, necessary antidote to this pervasive digital physical decay.
It is. This art of physical finesse is a necessary response to the mechanical and postural disconnect brought on by the digital revolution. It moves us away from being the cogs in the machine, which the source describes as the result of scientific management focused purely on numerical efficiency.
Right, the idea that the body is just a machine that needs quantified input reps, calories, steps.
When exercise is taught purely numerically, focused only on competitive results, it often stops being fun. It focuses solely on the output, rather than skillful, integrated interaction with your own body.
And Nanba aims to restore that.
It aims to restore that fun, that finesse, and that connection-making movement, a form of awareness and preventative medicine.
We've established the martial art, Yuishinkai, and the physical mastery of Nanba. Now we transition to the broader cultural and academic application of this wisdom through the eyes of William Reed. This section is dedicated to his special dream for the development of Yuishinkai, Bumbu Rishtu.
The mastery of sword and letters. This is the centerpiece of the Renaissance samurai ideal. It recognizes that the samurai were never just warriors.
Oh.
They were required to be cultured, literate, and philosophically grounded.
Yeah.
Bunbu Riju demands proficiency in both the martial arts, bu or sword, and literary or scholarly pursuits, bun or letters.
But the challenge is translating that ancient ideal into the 21st century. How does he define the mission for Yuishinkai members and affiliated organizations today?
The vision is to bring to members and their affiliated organizations the practical elements of this samurai wisdom that can be applied directly in the contemporary context of personal and professional life.
It's about application.
It's about leveraging the rigorous self-control, focus, and strategic thinking developed through the martial arts, and coupling it with the cognitive and communicative skills developed through cultural pursuits like calligraphy and language. It's truly a holistic curriculum for modern success.
To embody that dual mastery, William Reed's personal background has to be formidable. Let's detail his expertise in both the sword and the letters, showing how he lives this concept.
In the realm of the sword, or bu, his credentials are substantial. He holds an 8th dan in Aikido, Yuishinkai, and also a 2nd dan in Aikido.
The martial art of drawing the Japanese sword.
And executing a cutting strike. And Aikido specifically is less about fighting and more about absolute focus and presence.
It's a meditative practice.
It's intensely meditative, requiring perfect concentration and timing. This formidable foundation in the martial path teaches instantaneous focus, strategic positioning, and self-protection, the physical and mental elements of bu.
And on the side of letters, or bun, his qualifications are perhaps even more comprehensive than his martial rank.
Indeed. He holds a 10th dan in Shodo calligraphy from the All Japan Calligraphy Federation, which is the highest possible rank,
Wow.
reflecting mastery of the brush. Beyond the technical art, he is a professor and author, having earned a master's degree in education from the University of Missouri after extensive studies in Japanese language and culture at institutions like Earlham College and Waseda University.
So he's the international conduit.
He truly serves as that,
Right.
translating decades of deep immersion as a Japanologist into practical lessons for the world.
He's not just teaching these concepts theoretically in a martial arts setting. He is integrating the Budo philosophy directly into higher education, particularly for an international audience seeking to master complex ideas.
Exactly. He is a professor of Japan Studies at the International College of Liberal Arts, ICLA, in Kofu, Yamanashi Gakuin University.
And what's critical is his audience.
It is. He teaches international students from around the world, over 30 countries, who are preparing for global careers.
And how does he connect Aikido and Samurai principles to standard liberal arts and business skills in that environment?
He focuses specifically on applying concepts like centering, composure, strategic distance.
The ability to step back from a problem.
Yes. And Kufu, to essential business skills. Think about idea generation, which requires mental flexibility and flow, effective speaking, which requires composure and hara grounding, and personal branding, which demands internal integrity.
So it's the application of Budo mentality clarity under pressure directly into a competitive business environment.
It is. And his influence extends beyond that campus into institutions focused on global health.
He is also a guest lecturer at Juntendo University.
At the Faculty of Liberal Arts at the Okanamizu campus in Tokyo, Juntendo is a highly respected university focused on global health and communication.
Which demonstrates the relevance of these principles.
Yes, the importance of posture, centering, and managing the mind-body connection. They're relevant even in the context of solving complex global health solutions and improving quality of life.
Now let's focus intensely on the letters aspect. Shodo, or the way of the brush, which he refers to as the sword of the mind. For many Westerners, calligraphy is just penmanship. But our sources show it is profoundly deeper than that.
It is far more than decorative handwriting. Shodo was described as a sophisticated, rigorous form of visual, tactile, and mental training.
And the core philosophical principle
Is that the quality of the line, the energy flow, or BA key, transferred from the body to the paper, immediately and vividly reflects the state of the mind and body at that precise moment.
It sounds like it's impossible to lie with the brush.
It is an intense and immediate act, leaving a vivid, lasting trace of the mind that produced it. Because the brush is designed to be soft and responsive, it mirrors your mental and physical attitude.
So if your mind is rigid,
The stroke is stiff. If you're distracted, the line wavers. The principle is, trying to control the brush with force is all but useless, which just mirrors the Budo lesson that trying to control an opponent with brute force is inefficient.
you have to let the key flow.
You must allow the key to flow. The brush acts as a diagnostic tool for your internal state.
A psychophysical seismograph, I think the sources called it.
Yes, it reveals microfatigue, wavering, or loss of control registering delicate connections between the eye, hand, and brain. This is why Shodo masters often speak of the spiritual dimension and the concept of Mojitama.
The idea that the characters themselves possess energy and spirit.
Exactly, reflecting the integrity and state of the person who drew them. The focus required for Shodo is equal to the focus required to draw a sword.
This internal diagnostic utility connects directly to modern brain science and its application to cognitive health. The letters aspect, far from being an ancient relic, has significant medical relevance today.
It connects Bunbu Ryudu directly to health and longevity. Reed Sensei highlights the critical work of Dr. Hamasaki, a specialist from Kumamoto University focused on dementia prevention and detection.
And the research centers on the neuroscientific impact of handwriting versus typing.
Yes.
So what does the science say about the difference between moving a pen and tapping a screen?
Research indicates that the simple, comprehensive act of handwriting, the physical motion, the tactile feedback, the visual processing, activates multiple distinct brain regions simultaneously.
Which ones?
Motor, language, memory, and emotion centers.
A complete physical and cognitive synergy, engaging the entire operating system of the brain.
Exactly. This widespread multimodal brain activation is crucial for maintaining neural pathways and significantly aids in dementia prevention. Studies cited, such as one involving a 76-year-old patient diagnosed with cognitive decline, showed profound positive results.
What happened?
Daily handwriting practice led to measurable improvements in attention, orientation, and expressive abilities.
And it's not just a preventative measure. Handwriting becomes an early detection tool.
It serves as a neurological canary in the coal mine. Changes in the quality of the handwriting, specifically the balance, spacing, overall fluidity, and the narrative structure of the writing, enable the early detection of cognitive decline, long before standard clinical symptoms might appear.
It's a non-invasive early diagnostic tool.
That reflects overall brain health. And this research stands in stark opposition to the modern trend of reliance on digital interfaces. This brings us back to that provocative idea of pictures under glass.
It's the ultimate trade-off of convenience for human potential.
It is. The move toward pictures under glass, smartphones, and touch-based screens sacrifices vital tactile feedback for purely visual interaction. The hands are an incredibly important neurological tool.
They possess high neural connectivity.
They are extensions of our brain. If we rely solely on tapping and swiping, what is the neurological risk we run?
The sources warn of.
A condition the sources term permanent numbness, a cognitive and physical disconnection that limits our potential. The choice in future technology design will be based on whether we prioritize sheer convenience or consciously leverage our full integrated human capabilities.
So using the brush, or practicing the physical finesse of Nanba, is not just an artistic or martial pursuit, it's a vital training regimen for maintaining full cognitive function and resilience in the digital age.
It absolutely connects the bun side of Bunbu Ryujut directly to personal health and longevity. Reed Sensei often cites a modified proverb, meaning perpetual youth and longevity, suggesting that practicing calligraphy helps keep the brain young, improves breathing through focused attention, and corrects posture.
Longevity in this context isn't about mere existence.
It's about well-lived, mentally sharp years.
Beyond the academic and health spheres, Reed Sensei also applies the dual mastery vision to corporate training, particularly through communication coaching. How does samurai wisdom inform world-class communication?
His work as a corporate speaking coach centers on the art of making sense. The fundamental challenge in communication is not transmitting data. It is leading an audience from their current reality into your intended vision. This requires moving the audience's head, their logic, their heart, their emotion, and their body, their actions, into agreement and action based on your mission.
That sounds far more demanding and holistic than simply learning how to structure a bulleted list. What are the key elements he emphasizes for a message to truly resonate and inspire that unified action?
He outlines 4 crucial escalating objectives for a message, all derived from the holistic Budo approach.
Okay, what are they?
First, it must be understood. This requires communicating clearly through all 5 sensory and intellectual channels: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, logic, and the energetic, the purpose, passion, the
Well, if you can't just focus on 1 or 2 channels.
No, you'll lose people. Second, it must be memorable. This is where the emotional element, the heart, comes in. Anchoring the message with metaphor, personal emotion, and a powerful story ensures immediate recall.
Understood and memorable. What's next?
Third, it must be remarkable. It needs to be inherently worth talking about, to survive and thrive in the marketplace of ideas.
So it has to be viral.
Essentially, yes. And fourth, it must be motivating. This is the ultimate goal. The message must inspire action and commitment, connecting back to the samurai concept of kokorozashi.
Kokorozashi, which translates literally to samurai mind.
Yes. It's about ensuring your primary motivation is to help others, aligning your words with ethical action.
Which is the highest form of integrity, that your verbalized mission must match your demonstrated actions.
And this is often integrated into corporate training, where he acts as a guest speaker for professional associations and offers team-building programs for international teams. He provides a taste of Zen in Japanese culture, but it is always grounded in immediately practical, applicable elements for professional development.
The sources include a powerful client testimonial that validates this holistic approach in a highly results-oriented environment, suggesting this isn't just theory.
This is the practical validation. The feedback comes from Gordon Watson, who was EVP and Regional Managing Director at AIA Group and CEO of AXA Asia.
And what did he say?
He remarked that the 2-day course on creativity in business that William Reed provided blew our people away. The feedback was extraordinarily positive, ranking as one of the most effective training programs.
What specifically made it so effective for high-level executives?
Watson stated he was amazed that William could cover so much content so well and present it in such an effective, memorable manner that he could easily recall most of it months later.
And the key result?
The key result wasn't just entertainment. Participants were immediately putting the knowledge to use, noting that they were thirsty for more. It confirms the immediate practical utility of this Renaissance samurai vision blending martial rigor, physical presence, and cognitive clarity for business excellence.
So the ability to blend martial principles, physical finesse, cognitive science, and communication structure creates a training experience that is highly memorable and immediately applicable, whether you are on the mat, in the C-suite, or instructing students at a liberal arts college.
It successfully translates the enduring values of samurai training into a global 21st century framework. The rigorous self-control demanded by the brush and the sword is revealed as the very same self-control needed to manage complexity and communicate effectively in the modern world.
This has been a true deep dive into an ecosystem of self-mastery that is truly interconnected. We started with the unique accessibility of Yuishinkai Aikido training in Tokyo, highlighting the direct, rare lineage available through Maruyama Kuritoshi Sensei and Tazoe Sakio Sensei at the Hamacho Sports Center. We saw how this pedigree provides not only pure technique, but the skills for adaptability, for kufu, in life and conflict.
Allowing you to not lose your ground.
Exactly. We then explored the foundation of physical finesse through the art of restoring natural movement, correcting the insidious damage caused by our sedentary digital lifestyles.
The practical application of Mamba, whether escaping a confrontation using the dragonfly step or simply correcting that debilitating 27-kilogram strain of smartphone posture, shows how ancient wisdom is vital for immediate well-being and structural integrity.
Finally, we connected this physical and martial path to the intellectual and cognitive through the Renaissance samurai ideal Bumbu Ritorno. We detailed William Reed's role in translating the sword and letters Budo, Nanba, and Shodo into a modern curriculum for academics and corporate leaders,
Emphasizing communication that moves the head, heart, and body into cohesive action, fulfilling a higher mission. The enduring value of these traditional Japanese arts lies in their proven ability to cultivate deep self-mastery, an essential skill for flourishing in the modern era of complexity and information overload.
It's about building internal resilience.
Yes.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner, as you look forward? We dove into the neurological importance of tactile engagement and how the digital world relies almost entirely on pictures under glass,
Right.
reducing the use of our highly innervated hands to mere tapping and swiping, threatening what the sources call permanent numbness.
If physical mastery, that hair grounding and fine motor control, is the foundation for cognitive clarity and tactile engagement is critical for cognitive function and health, we are faced with a challenging question. How can we actively integrate these ancient tactile practices, like the daily practice of the way of the brush, the Namba quick step, or the meditative concentration of Aikido, to ensure we leverage our full human potential?
Should the daily practice of physical finesse or the way of the brush be considered essential training for future cognitive resilience? A necessary countermeasure against the risk of creating permanent numbness in pursuit of digital convenience.
Is physical mastery the required foundation for cognitive and professional success in the 21st century? Think about the difference between passive consumption and active creation, the difference between the viewer and the one who wields the brush.
Which role truly leverages your full human capability? Thank you for joining us for the deep dive. We'll see you next time.